you like mysteries? Do you like solving problems? I mean, clearly not, because you're on a YouTube video for background noise while you're drawing or doing your homework or while your parents fight about who's gonna get you on the weekends. Hey, look at it this way, kid. 2 Christmases. Anyways, I like mysteries, which is why when I heard about a show called The Detective Is Already Dead, I had to check it out. I'm not usually one to get sucked in off of a title alone, but this one intrigued me. I thought it was ballsy to put what I assumed to be the twist in the title of the show, and I hoped that based off of that bold move, it would have the material and substance to back it up. Did it? Well...
Jeez, are you really gonna set the bar for what's acceptable that low?
The Detective Is Already Dead is a show that swings above its weight class. If a series is gonna have the confidence to put the twist in the title of the show, then one would naturally assume that the action building up to it would be enough to make the audience forget everything's already been spoiled for us. Either that, or the series would work extra hard to make sure that the twist was consistently compelling. The Detective Is Already Dead fails to do either. Instead, it flounders its way through a dozen episodes, being supported by flimsy deductive reasoning and shameful fan service. The series stars Kimihiko Kimizuka, otherwise known as Watson or Kimi. If you're not familiar, Kimi is the Japanese word for you, which makes this character essentially the audience's self-insert. Don't believe me? Let's look a little bit deeper into the character. From the moment he's introduced in episode 1, Kimi emphasizes that his desire is to lead an everyday life. Kimi is built to be relatable to the everyman, no matter the stage of his life. And everyday life is something most of us can relate to wanting or even idealize. A life without complication, where you work enough to pay the bills, but still have time to play video games in the evening.
She's making me suck her dick! No, none of my holes are safe, no!
However, even when Kimi's granted the chance at an everyday life, he quickly discards it for the chance at something that enriches his life more. This makes him simultaneously a dimensional main character and a character immediately alienated from the core viewership of this program. The core viewership of harem-type anime are men who feel that they missed their chance in life to be the debonair alpha male type, and these men are not usually the type of people to take the initiative to change. So Kimi's urge to transform his life, while meant as a call to action, only serves to alienate its core audience by implying that just maybe it might be a them problem. But I will say, there is a lot that makes it easy to slip yourself into Kimizuka. Right down to his wardrobe, it's not that complicated. It's this suit that he wears for most of the show. It's pretty easy to put together too. Don't believe me? Check this out. What'd I tell ya? I'm also gonna serve as your IRL color commentator through this video, sharing things that I wrote down in my notebook that didn't quite make it to the main script. And one of the first things I wrote about was the fan reaction to this series. As of the taking of my notes on 11/21/2024, the show is at 6.4 on my anime list. Everyone just thinks it's a stereotypical battle harem. I made a game of going through the reviews on the front page and making a tally of those that said they would recommend it, those with mixed feelings, and those who said they wouldn't recommend it. Would recommend, 2. Mixed feelings, 2. Would not recommend, 16. At the same time the show gives us Kimizuka, it also attempts to evangelize its true core point through another one of its characters, Nagisa Natsunagi. Although since the show shortens Kimihiko's name to Kimi, I want to make sure we stay consistent and do that with everyone's name in the show, so Nagisa is now Nana. After suffering medically throughout most of her childhood, a miracle heart transplant grants her a new lease on life. Spurred on by this, Nana seeks out the previous owner of her heart. She feels it calling for something or someone. Kimi decides to pick up the mantle of detective one more time to help solve Nana's heart's mystery. He seeks out the help of a previous arrest, the Bat, someone that he classifies, at least according to the dub, as an android. Does that seem sudden? Trust me, I felt the same way when I heard about it in episode 1. The short explanation I can give before I reach my main point is that androids are basically superhumans developed by the criminal syndicate Spes. Wild name, right? At least it's not something stupid like Let me know if you want a review of that show. These superhumans have a variety of abilities. For instance, Bats is his bionic hearing, powered by the artificial appendage growing from his ear. The problem I have with androids is how they're introduced. The most setup for extravagance that we've had at the point in the series where they're introduced is international crime, which, while being a hell of a sentence, is nothing compared to demi-humans and other similar threats. This is a problem with setting audience expectations for the in-world scale of things. Other series, like Seraph of the End or Attack on Titan, introduce their extravagant elements right off the bat. This series just piles them on, one on top of the other, until the audience is feeling fatigued for it. Part of a good mystery is setting audience expectations, because in a good mystery, the audience are just as much detectives as the protagonist. And detectives, while not expected to know it all, will usually not have anything that's beyond deductive reasoning to interpret. And that's another area where this series falls short: preemptive reasoning. It's like the very core of the Ace Detective Siesta's character. Literally, Siesta's motto is,
"Any true detective worth their salt gets a solid handle on the ins and outs of a case before the incident even occurs."
There's no easy way to say this. Oh wait, yes there is. This is bad. I can understand how, from an immature perspective, having all the answers prior to any conflict can seem alluring. But when engaged with at a critical level, it quickly loses its luster. When you know that a character will 10 times out of 10 always have an answer to whatever happens, it removes a significant amount of suspense. Something that motivates our affection for some of the most popular characters is their fragility. Just like you and me, their lives are on the line. There's no guarantee for anyone, thus the audience cherishes each interaction with a character like it's their last. However, when a character is guaranteed to always have some miraculous, predestined solution, then they're no longer mortal, and thus alienated from the audience. Siesta is lauded as an ace detective, but her entire kit relies on her having a ton of built-in fail-safes. This girl has more invulnerability than an Overwatch support. Well, that settles it. Hotbox is going to hell. Wait, what? Why? He made 2 Overwatch jokes in the same video. Oh god, yeah, that's me. When Siesta isn't relying on her near-omniscient deductive reasoning, she's backed up by a multitude of tools, as well as a heart that literally disintegrates certain enemies' attacks against her. This is very much a case of Arthur Conan Doyle Sherlock versus TV Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock. One is a procedural mastermind who uses context and ingenuity to devise the solution to whatever's in front of him, and the other is so predestined for success that the audience is just waiting for a certain point in the runtime where everything is revealed and they get to feel some pseudo-intellectual high from being along for the journey. I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you enjoy TV Sherlock, or even this show, but this is an opinion piece, and in my opinion, I don't like just knowing that the good guy will always win with no opposition. A good detective story comes from the audience's desire to solve the mystery, combined with adequate clues left by the author. The audience cares way more about the build-up to the solution than they do about the actual solution, whether they know it or not. Of course, I want good to win over evil, but too much good handed to you on a platter is like a steady diet of cake. It gets sort of sickening after a while. I like stakes. I like tension. Think about it. Why would you watch if you already know the end? Now, I can understand the layered meaning of the title. Kimmy even explains it at the start of episode 3.
Maybe I do have the cutest idol's saliva smeared all over both of my hands, but it's not like I'm gonna put it in a vial and auction it off online or anything. The detective is already dead, but her dying wish will never truly die.
Would you me?
Which, by the way, is when the first big case of the show happens, which I call the case of the miracle Sapphire. Kimmy and Nana are contracted by Yui Saikawa, a middle school idol. She receives a letter signaling thieves' intent to steal the Saikawa heirloom Sapphire. Initially, Kimmy and Nana are attracted to the job based on the payout, but Kimmy eventually begins to detect foul play. Yui is hiding a big secret, which is revealed at the concert that Kimmy and Nana crash. You see, Yui didn't hire the detectives to protect the Sapphire at home. The real miracle Sapphire is Yui's left eye. Is this a cool twist? Yeah. Is the way they arrive at this conclusion goofy as hell? Oh, 100%, because there's more twists. So many twists Let me give you some advice. If you're a prospective writer, imagine adding twists to a story like squeezing juice from a lemon. Your first squeeze will get you a lot of juice and a big audience reaction. Adding another squeeze will get the last little bits out. Any more squeezes and you're beating a dead horse, so you better make it good. I'm not saying only 2 twists work. I'm just saying to be responsible with the amount that you add, or else you end up exactly like what's happening here. The further twist is that Yui lied because Spess threatened her and planted a bomb in her house vault that she was to lead Kimmy and Nana to. But also, Spess double-crossed Yui and tried to kill her at the concert. But also, that's because her eye has special X-ray powers, similar to Siesta's heart, kinda, and Bat's ear. But also, does this feel contrived yet? Because it definitely does to me. This feels like when you were a kid playing superpowers with your friends and you would keep adding powers to one-up each other. One-upping is not a bad thing necessarily. It becomes a bad thing when the things that you introduce to one-up the previous things end up only making those previous things look stupid. The case of the Miracle Sapphire undoes any footing it has as a sensibly written mystery by being more complicated than a polyamorous wedding. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you man and wife. And wife, and wife and non-binary spouse, husband and wife again. I'm gonna be here for a while. Hey, why are you just sitting in a chair over there?
That's my role, I'm into this.
Oh my god. The series isn't entirely incompetent. It does set up little clues, but the conclusions it wants you to arrive at from those clues are so crazy, so ridiculous. And that's the show's biggest problem. It undercuts itself by not being fully cohesive. And what makes the case of the Miracle Sapphire even more frustrating is that it removes any potential consequence this fuckery could have had by having Kimmy solve everything as usual and then having Yui brought onto the team. The only twist I truly approve of in this episode is the reveal that Siesta is a MILF.
Yes, Mom! That's a good girl.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not jealous.
But we don't even get to see the aftermath really because the show, in a massive whiplash move, takes us back to the past for the next case, which I call the case of Cerberus. At an unspecified point in the past, Kimmy and Siesta are charged with hunting down a man-wolf android hybrid who's going around eating hearts. He says it's because he has a mission to fulfill and he can't possibly fail now. Or he can. He's killed by a woman who reveals herself to be the leader of Spess, codename Hell. This leads to Kimmy being kidnapped, which leads to Hell reading from an ancient prophetic text, which leads to the leaves of Agastia, which leads to a mutant bioweapon, which leads to a fucking Gundam. So the monster's the one that's really eating hearts, they're its source of power, and it only needs one more tribute, so Hell slips it a honey pack and something happens that I can't show on YouTube. Also, Hell beats the fatherless activity allegations.
But having things move along at a faster pace is my father's.
Huh?
By the way, no one mentions it, but this thing's name is Beetlejuice. Top secret military stuff, blah, 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 blah. Beetlejuice? The case ends in a total anticlimax. Siesta crashes the mech and survives with a leg injury, and then Hell disappears with her partner Chameleon. In a totally normal sequence of events following the fight, Kimmy finds a girl in a box. Must have been a Wayfair order. The girl's name is Alicia.
I'm 17 years old as of this year.
You've definitely got your age wrong. I'm not interested in children. Got it? Got it? Got it. She's about 12 or 13. At least that's the idea I get from looking at her calves. I'm not interested in children, got it?
Siesta invites Alicia onto the team, and their first task as a group is to track down a certain Sapphire. And worse, someone's still out there killing and eating hearts. Hey, have you seen Siesta's tits lately? Sorry, I'm just trying to mirror the narrative pacing of this show. Look, I'm not revolutionary or a saint for calling out fan service. This is just an opinion piece, and in my opinion, it's a poor way of keeping audience engagement. Siesta and Kimmy are put on the case by Fubi, or should I say, who they believe to be Fubi. I should say that because that's how the show goes. In a ham-fisted twist, they deduce Hell or a Spess shapeshifter has impersonated Fubi, and the show finally decides to give more lore on androids. 4 episodes away from the finale. Okay, well, we did something remotely cool, so now we have to cut it with a couple of minutes of bullshit, so let's just fast forward through that. Yeah. Oh yeah, see, the joke is that he has sexual tension with this girl who looks underage. Funny. As the investigation goes on, evidence starts piling up that Alicia is behind the killings, perpetrating them while in a trance-like state. Kimmy's reluctance to acknowledge Alicia as a threat is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting displays of character in this show. Alicia is like the personification of Kimmy's resistance to change. Kimmy craves an everyday life, something reliable, but with everything he's done, he can never have that. Alicia represents a period in Kimmy's life that he will never get. A state of mind, a certain innocence. Kimmy doesn't want to lose that. He even says so himself.
All I wanted was for Alicia to stay just like this.
But nothing lasts forever. That's one of the strangely profound messages of this show. You can chase that peaceful life, but you might suffocate in the silence. You can go back to the past, but there's no one there anymore. Alicia gets kidnapped, so Siesta, her daughter Char, and Kimmy raid the Spess base, and Hell's dad is a fucking alien.
I am just Seed, a plant life form that came to this planet from outer space.
Char fights Chameleon for all 3 seconds of his screen time. Hell learns Frenzy Plant. Oh, hey, look at that. The detective's finally dead. And Hell's taking her heart, weird but okay. Show's over, and I don't have to talk about it anymore. Yay! Yay! Except that there's still 3 more episodes.
Well, this sucks.
The very last part of the show surrounds a case that I will call the case of Siesta's Bequest. We pick back up to the present day. Kimmy, Nana, Yui, and Char are all on a boat trying to track down something left behind by Siesta, but they don't know what. The problem is, Chameleon and Spess are there too, and they end up kidnapping Nana and holding the whole cruise ship hostage. And then Nana's life is in danger, except it's not because Yui's down there with a boat. And then Chameleon and Kimmy fight, except they don't because Chameleon spends 5 minutes of runtime literally just saying the same thing over and over, and then they get third-manned by Char in a helicopter.
And Kimizuka! For the record, I still don't like you. I hate you!
Open wide, because I've got plenty of other dumb shit to feed you. So Siesta's heart can take over the consciousness of whoever's body it's in, because she takes over Hell and just system wipes her memory and entire personality. Then in the current day, she takes over Nana's body too, but only temporarily. And the last fight, the big chameleon fight of the very last episode that's supposed to be super climactic, is like 6 minutes of banter and flashbacks and about 2.5 minutes of actual action. And that's the ending. Of course, there's the epilogue with the little glimpses into everyone's lives, but that's it. Is this ending a cinematic masterpiece? No. Is it heartwarming or emotionally gut-wrenching? No. But does this show make me think? Yes. Maybe not in the traditional mystery sense where I'm thinking of clues nonstop, but it makes me think about life. Remember how pissed I was at the title of the show? Well, what made me reconsider was this conversation between Char and Kimmy and their views on Siesta's death.
For the foreseeable future, I'll remain what I was. The legendary detective's sidekick.
You're a fool. You're the one living in the past for Mom. I'm honoring her by moving forward.
Kimmy feels that his constant reminiscing and chasing ghosts is how to keep Siesta's memory alive. But Char offers the view that moving forward and finding action in the present is healthier. And she's right. The detective is already dead. Nothing can change that. But what we can change is the world in front of us. The here and now. You can call this show a ham-fisted, short-sighted, and, at times, utterly absurd story that's only being supported by the straps of Siesta's bra all you want. And if you don't, I will. But what the show does offer is a proactive perspective. The idea that, by living, the people that we love and our spirits never truly die. Nana represents that. She's the living embodiment of, well, living and living life to its fullest. This show is not for everyone. It's not a generation-defining classic and probably won't even crack your top 10. And yet underneath all of it, it has charming moments and characters. It has dialogue that genuinely made me laugh, and it has a message to offer. In conclusion, the next time you encounter a show or anything in life that you're hesitant about, take the leap. Live. Maybe your own detective is already dead. Maybe you're counting yourself out from the start, but you won't truly know unless you try. And who knows? You might just find a sign of life. I give this show 6 out of 10. Would recommend. And this has been The Hot Box. Thank you so much for watching this episode of A Horrible Review. I'm excited to do more of these. Make sure to leave a comment with whatever you want to see me review next. It could be a game, a show, anything. And while you're down there, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to keep up with me on my socials and Discord too. Those will be in the pinned comment and the description. And share the video around. Tell your friends. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you have a good rest of your day and an even better tomorrow. And I will see you in the next episode of whatever I make. And until next time, this has been The Hot Box. Bye.
Whoops.
They missed their chance to be the me. Instead, it flounders its way through a little over a dozen episodes, being supported by flimsy deductive reasoning. No, it is a dozen episodes. Huh? While meant as a call to action, only serves to alienate its core audience. What? Marker? Something that underlies our affection. The detective. Oh, fuck me. Which, by the way, is the. Which. What? Huh? The fuck? Yui is high. What? What? Yui is high? Yeah, I wish, sister. What? Kimmy's reluctance to acknowledge Alicia as the threat she is. What? What? The very last part of the show surrounds a case that takes. Make sure to leave a comment with. Fuck me in the mouth. Make sure to do that too.